So, I left the doctor in this state of these conflicting emotions. And one thought popped into my head and kept popping into my head if I needed to go and visit the cemetery. So I was like, okay. I've always did my best to avoid cemeteries. I think like any sane person would, they kind of give you the heebie-jeebies. Kind of give you this feeling of there's something spooky going on in there. You know, it's that great backdrop for all sorts of horror films. You know, this idea that on a deep primal level we're all afraid of ghosts. And since being initiated into the shamanic path, I've had to learn in repeating increasing levels to embrace death. And I understood I could communicate with the spirit realm. But I always wondered why I never communicated with so-called ghosts. Why I didn't have what people consider to be traditional mediumistic abilities to communicate with spirits. Because my communication was something I just knew. You could say I was like hearing it. You could say I could see something in my mind's eye sometimes. But I wasn't one of these individuals that just had these outright physical experiences that I could say, that's it. No, for me it was just all a matter of faith. So, I'm driving along and I just get the impression, this repeated impression, I need to go to the cemetery. And at this point, I just don't have the will to argue or even really consider anything else other than the fact of I know I need to go somewhere. I don't have much gas, so I can't keep driving around. And I don't want to drive around. I just want to sit someplace. But, you know, couldn't think of any place to just go to that I could be by myself. So oddly, I went to a cemetery. And, you know, it was an amazing thing when I drove into the cemetery. Immediately, a sense of peace washed over me. And even going to the cemetery, I actually started to feel excited. This was really odd. I'm like, you know, I really should feel hesitant here. I'm driving toward a cemetery. But I didn't. I started getting more and more excited the closer I got. And once I crossed that threshold, I just felt this tremendous peace. Kind of like walking into church for the first time. I just felt this tremendous peace. Walking into church for the second time, I just felt a tremendous peace. This time, the peace, though, was also accompanied by another feeling, and this was even stranger. I felt like I had come home. I have been searching for home. What does home mean exactly? These past 3 years, that has been like the locus of my entire search. Is searching for a home. Searching for that something that would allow me to feel accepted. A place where I was comfortable and secure. Where I could grow. Where I could be myself. And, I mean, yes, there's such thing as a physical home. That satisfied a lot of my physical needs and desires. But there was another definition to home that I wasn't quite sure what that meant. I just knew that a lot of stuff wasn't it. Including going halfway across the world to meet my twin. That didn't give me the feeling of home. Oddly enough. So, I go into this cemetery and I feel I'm at home. And I'm walking up and down the aisles and reading the names on all these grave markers. And I keep noticing a disturbing thing. There's a lot of unnamed people there. That's all their headstone says is unnamed. And so eventually I make my way to about the middle of the cemetery. And I don't feel like going on anymore. I suddenly feel really tired, like I just need to sit down. So I plop myself down. I'm looking around for a few minutes, and then I finally end up reading the name of the headstone that I'm sitting in front of. And I don't remember the person's name, but it really only had one description of this person, and it said mother. And so I was like, hi mother, I'm just gonna enjoy this time with you. Thank you for inviting me into this space. Thank you for finally allowing me to feel at home. I don't really understand why I feel at home here. But then I began understanding a deeper thing. And that's that I'm in a cemetery. I'm in a public place. Here it is okay for me to cry. It's okay for me to be in despair. If I even wanted to, it would be okay for me to wail. The workers there are not going to look at me like I'm crazy. They're not going to look at me like there's something wrong with me. In fact, people expect you to cry when you're at a cemetery. People expect you to be talking to yourself, seemingly. And that was the other amazing revelation about it. Is I could have these conversations with myself in a public place, and nobody would question me on it. Because why? When you're in a cemetery, people are expecting that you're talking to the person whose grave that you're standing in front of. I don't need to explain to them that I'm talking to all the people, that I'm feeling all this stuff going on there. So as I'm sitting there with Mother, another interesting realization comes to me, and that was the last time I attended church here recently, because I just started getting really sick afterward, was at Easter. And oh my gosh, there was so much spiritual outpouring in the building on that day. Jesus was there. It was an amazing experience. And yet I knew very well that nobody else could really perceive this. And I just wanted so badly to just sit there, undisturbed, and bask in this glorious presence. Have this spirit bathe me, cleanse me, hold me. So I went out into the parking lot because the building was closed. I would have liked to have just sat in the sanctuary, just meditated upon it. But once sermon is over, they shut the building down. It's like, okay, well, I'll sit in the parking lot. But then somebody drives by and I am crying. But this is these are tears of a beautiful thing that I have no words to describe. It's just this beautiful presence pouring through me that I need to pay homage to. The person driving by, though, totally interferes with me and wants to fix me like I'm broken, and I'm not broken. And yet she can't understand this, and I can't explain it to her. Before she came, I started fiddling with some rocks on the ground, and nobody would know what I was doing, but I was constructing a small little altar. And I knew very well that I was actually adjusting the magnetic grid that was there. This project went unfinished. This basking just ended because I didn't feel comfortable or safe. And I felt comfortable and safe in the cemetery. And then another, even more amazing revelation came to me. And that was that the spiritual presence I was feeling was far stronger in the cemetery than anything I've ever felt in church. Far more amazing. And I could sit there totally undisturbed for as long as I wanted to, and whoever came near me was gonna totally understand my need to be alone, my need to cry. They weren't gonna try to fix any brokenness or really even ask me too many questions. If they did want to talk to me, it would be respectful. Just like this one individual that came up, asked me politely, would I bother you if I played my trumpet? And I said, oh no. In fact, I would be incredibly thankful if you did. And I didn't tell him, but I was hoping that he was going to play the song Taps. So I'm going to stop this video now and start another one and explain to you about the significance of the song Taps. And then what resulted from all this?